So that's the problem with propaganda. Ladies and gentlemen, the candidates for the major political parties are like TV wrestlers. I never watched that. So my grandmother introduced me to television wrestling. She used to get really excited. She hated the guy with the black mask. Something about a mask. She didn't mind the guy with the blue tights, but the black mask. And of course, you know what I'm saying. These guys throw each other around. They put up a good appearance, a good fight. But when they get together in the locker room afterwards, they got their arms around each other. Let's go have a beer. And boy, you were a little rough on that last throw. You know, ease up next time. They have been told by their managers who's going to win the match. And they go along with it because they know that the next turn, it's their turn. And this is exactly what's happening. The candidates at the top have been told who has been chosen long before the elections take place.
Right.
An rigged electronic voting machine is merely the implementation of that strategy. And we have to be very much aware of it. Meanwhile, the American people just sort of watch this whole thing like they're hypnotized. They don't know what to do about it. And they follow the cheerleaders. You know, there are people who are opinion leaders, like we've got Rush Limbaugh on one side, we've got groups like MoveOn on the other side. And all these groups want to redefine all of the important issues of the day as though they were partisan issues. One guy will say, he'll have nothing wrong to say about Republicans, but he'll criticize the heck out of Democrats. But he'll just leave like Limbaugh. He never says anything bad about Republicans. He's very good about pointing out the flaws of Democrats. Mm-hmm. And we got people on the other side like, like Mr. Moore, Michael Moore, who do some movies, who point out all the flaws of the Republicans, but never point out the flaws of the Democrats. And we're supposed to choose up sides on the basis of these opinion leaders and these cheerleaders. Every issue has to be framed in terms of who you for, Republicans or Democrats. And nothing else is supposed to cross your mind. That is the problem. We have to break that pattern. And I think the average American voter being forced to define issues along partisan lines has no chance of solving, at least even having an opinion about solving really great American problems. In fact, I think those little children in the classroom have a better chance of discovering the true gender of that kitten by the majority vote than the average American has figuring out how they're going to vote. The main thing to that is that Americans have lost their principles. They don't think about political principles anymore. They think about personalities. They think about party labels. They think about, well, he seemed to be so sincere. Yeah, that's what scares me. He's very sincere. Well, I think he did a better job in the debate, don't you? Because he was better in the debate. They never ask, what does he believe in? What are his principles? See? So we're doomed as long as that is the case. And so my theme here is that American voters have become like tennis balls. And we're being hit from one side of the net by the Republican racket, and then the other side by the Democrat racket. And we tennis balls are being banged back and forth, back and forth. And, you know, the tennis players can win a game now and then. But those tennis balls never win. And that's our predicament. We've got to stop being tennis balls. And so we just watch and we play this game while America goes down the tubes. And we're losing our nation and our country. We've got to do something.
Do we need another revolution?
I'd like to address that question about a revolution. But let me finish my theme. Thank you for reminding me of that. Yes. So what is the solution? Well, there are three views. There's the pessimistic view, there's the optimistic view, and then there's my view. The pessimistic view is, what can you do about it? Nothing. Come on, wake up. Be realistic. These these people are in control. You think you're going to turn this around at this late date? My gosh, they run the government, they run the media, they've got control of the educational system, the police force, the jails, the judges, the economy, they run the corporations, they're your employers. What are you going to do? Sign a petition? Come on, wake up. It's over, that pessimist says. Get used to it. You took too long waking up. Now you pay the price. That's the pessimist. The optimist says, oh, there's nothing to worry about. We've been in trouble before, you know. This is America. We've been through some tough times. Americans are strong and they're wise. They've always come out of tough times before. Just relax. Then there's my view. I don't think either one of those are realistic. The realistic view is that we are living in very tough times. It's going to take very drastic action, perhaps a revolution of some kind. We'll define that in a moment. But I had an idea a few years ago, and I asked myself what would happen if just 2% of the population, or even 1% of the population, came together and became united on a single concept. What if they had a creed of freedom? What if they knew what they believed in, as well as what they did not like? What if they had a concept instead of voting against candidates or voting against proposals, had some kind of an ideology of their own, and they could dream ahead and see what the world could be like under a better system, and had a formula for that. And what if they were united across all nations, all cultures, all races, all genders, all economic status of all kinds? What if they had this bond, true brotherhood, that brought them together? And what if they decided to get serious about this and devote a significant portion of their lives to the battle? And what if especially they decided that they were going into the power centers of society, where the collectivists now reign unchallenged, and take them back to the same place? I think that plan would work. In fact, I'm putting everything on it. That's the reason that a few years ago we created Freedom Force International, because that is precisely the program and the model for what we're trying to do. Now, I'll come back, as I mentioned earlier, for a few minutes at the end and give you an overview of that, but I urge you that if you have not heard of Freedom Force before, take a very serious look at it, and then I think many of you will probably want to join with us in that mission. Now, it's hard to end this on a happy note, isn't it? And jokes by themselves don't quite cut it, but I thought I would try it this way. It relates to the story of the kittens. I had an Aunt Alice. She raised me. She was kind of a surrogate mother and father, wrapped into one. A wonderful lady, a school teacher, and she raised me. And she had a most amazing ability to look at young kittens and predict or tell what gender they were. Nobody could understand the Aunt Alice formula. she was almost always right. And one day, she finally broke down and told me. She said, Edward, it's quite simple. Just take a look at the kittens. After they're a few days old, they begin to develop certain characteristics that you can see in the heads. He said the tomcats invariably will start to develop very broad heads. And the female cats will have narrow, little dainty heads. He said, that's it. That's all there is to it. That's it. And I have applied that formula myself over the years, and I'm almost always right. So I've learned the Aunt Alice formula. And I tell you this story because I want to end by saying that we should take heart. There are solutions out there, even for the most profound, perplexing problems. And sometimes they're much simpler. Thank you.